Lisa LaBelle, everyone!
Hello, world. Welcome to the number 2 podcast in the entire world, the L4 podcast. I am so excited to be here with you guys. I love talking to you guys. I look forward to this so much, and hoping one day I'll get paid for it, but that's going to be up to you guys to let the universe know when I'm good enough to get some cheddar for this business. And I hope that soon. That is my goal this year, to get paid for what I do. That'd be fantastic. And then maybe I can get some nice shirts. This shirt's a little wrinkly. Sorry about that. It's an Amazon shirt. So until I can get paid for my comedy, that I'll be wearing some Amazon fashion. Hope you don't mind. And it's all right. I mean, it's a little wrinkly, but we could deal with it. We could totally deal with it. You know, that's not what we're here for. We're not here for fashion. Come on. No one's here for fashion. What are we here for? We're still trying to determine that. You're still trying to determine that. Here's the thing. I may not know where this train is going, but people are getting on board. Yeah, they are. They're lining up. They're hopping aboard. Maybe not lining up quite yet, but they're interested and they're stepping on up into the train carts. That's what I call them. We're all in this train cart together, and it's really exciting. And I mean, there's a lot of haters out there, man. But you know what? This train is made of that Cybertruck bulletproof material. So they're just bing, 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 bing. Poof. Troll number 1. Poof. Hate number 2. Poof. Poof. And that's the sound of deflection. It's the deflection train, and people are getting on board with me. And it's super fun. We're learning things. We're going through this life together. And thank you for being here with me today. And what's going on in your world? I got my coffee in my hand here. I was holding it, put it down, holding. I want to sip it, though. That was the goal of me holding it, but I didn't want to sip it in your ear. So go ahead and take a little sip of your liquid. Go get hydrated. Go get dehydrated with your coffee. Here we go. Talking about coffee makes me want more coffee. Yes, the best. So what else is going on, guys? I've been on this comedy journey. I can't believe that this podcast is almost, in March, it will be a year old. That's wild, man. Wow. And it's, it's pretty amazing. People through the comedy journey, I mean, through this podcast and through stand-up, there are really great people along the way, and people that there's going to be some pivotal people in your life. They're not going to be a lot of them, but when you do come across those people that help you, you have to be really humble and realize that it's just the luck of the draw. It's the universe giving you a gift. It's God putting these people in your path to help you level up in the world. And you need those people in order to do that, because there's not a lot of them out there. There might be people out there who want to help you. They don't know how to help you. They're busy doing their own thing in their own lives. They have a lot going on. They got kids. They have elderly parents. They got animals. They got work. They got all these things going on, and they just don't know how to help you. Or maybe there's people out there who don't want to help you because they see that you're completely relentless and you eat failure for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're not. It doesn't even really bother you at all. You're not even flinching from eating those failures for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because guess what? That's how AI works too. Iteration, man. You're going to start off making a ton of mistakes, but then you need to just get a little better, 1% better. Work at getting better. And that compounded over time is going to bring you into success. and reaching your goals. So some people see that relentlessness in people's eyes and they don't want to go near it because, well, they're afraid of it, to be honest. So there's a lot of those people out there, but I'm, when this is the best speech ever is Snoop Dogg's speech. Remember that speech? Here we go. Because I have been reaching out to a lot of people for opportunities. I'm not getting any bites. No bites here and no bites there. Bite. No bites. So then you just got to figure it out. You just got to figure out how to build the thing on your own. And it's funny when you start building the thing on your own, other people will start coming out and be like, can I be part of your thing? It's like, well, where were you when I asked you to collaborate before I had a thing? Where were you then, huh? Behind a shrub, just peering out, waiting, seeing me go through the trenches. You're just watching when I'm asking for a little bit of a leg up. And now you're out here in front of me asking to be a part of the thing. Come on. We don't hold any wrong ill will in our heart towards it. But you just, you recognize it, that's for sure. This was Snoop Dogg's acceptance speech for some sort of award. And this is the speech that I'm going to give when I become the most famous, in a good way, adored comedian in the entire world. Here we go.
Last but not least, I want to thank me.
I want to thank me.
I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work.
Snoop
I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. Snoop Dogg, you a bad...
Yeah, man, come on. That's I will be saying those exact words. That's all I'm saying. I've been trying a new skincare regimen. And some of you out there might not care about that. I understand. I got these pads for my face to brighten it up. Brighten that bichon up. And I started using the pads, and I wasn't very happy with the company because the pads, they didn't have a lot of product on them. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just rubbing this thing on my face with hardly any product on it. How's that supposed to work? I reached out to the company. Company said, hey, don't use those pads on your face. They are only used for the intimate part of your body. What? Where on your product does it say only use on intimate part of your body? So I told my husband, I said, husband, I've been using vag pads on my face to brighten it up. And he didn't know what to do with that. So neither did I. I don't know. We were something really fun we did together this week was we got a magazine in the mail, and we don't subscribe to the magazine. No one does. They just get these things in the mail through the United States Postal Service, and you didn't even subscribe to any of this. And the Postal Service person, they just throw a bunch of snail mail in your box that you don't even want. So I pull this thing out. It's a big old magazine. It's Atlanta Realtor Luxury Magazine. And I think the whole magazine was Sotheby's. Sotheby's. And it's just all the realtor groups in Sotheby's around Atlanta and the surrounding areas. And gosh, one of these women in that magazine, she had super blonde hair, super white skin, no eyebrows. She doesn't draw her eyebrows on, and also no eyelashes. She looked like she walked straight out of a Swiss village, and she just got done making some cheese. She was one of those fromagers, a cheesemaker. That's what she looked like. And that's the kind of person that I might want to go to if I'm looking for another house. A fromager. And that we had a lot of fun looking through that magazine and just riffing on certain scenarios. And that was yeah, I know that's cheesy, but that's what we did. And it was something really fun to do together. My husband has a really good sense of humor. He would have to be married to me. Yeah. Glory to God. Okay, yes, I am not wearing socks, even though it's like 32 degrees outside. It's not 32 degrees in here, though. It's like 64. I saw something really interesting about orcas. Someone posted, orcas are wearing dead salmon on their heads again. Again. After disappearing for 37 years, the strange behavior has resurfaced and no one knows why. It's a picture of an orca wearing a big old salmon on its nose. I don't know. What are they doing? We don't even know. What are they even doing down there? Orcas are those killer whales, man. Dude, orcas are the Comanche Indians of the ocean. Orcas are apex predators. They kill sharks, not even to eat the shark meat or the shark carcass. No, they hunt sharks down for their nutrient-dense livers. And they're the Comanche Indians of the ocean because the way they do this is they go find a shark. They go find one of those hopeless mother truckers out there just swimming along with their fin. And they flip the shark over to give it shark paralysis so it cannot move. And then they go ahead and they bite part where its pectoral fin is. They take a little bite out of there. And then they squeeze the shark like a toothpaste tube to pop the liver out. God. And then they eat the liver and they just let the shark float on by dead, obviously. It's a dead shark at that point. They don't even eat the carcass. That's insane, man. It's like they enjoy, they have fun with it almost. They're like, hey, see that shark over there? Yeah, let's go squeeze him like a toothpaste tube, see if his liver pops out. Nearby where we bit him near his pectoral fin. Jeez. Comanche Indian of the ocean over there, those orcas. Good heavens. What a beast. What else is going on? There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there on those ADHD meds. There's a lot of children out there. I was just thinking this. There's a whole generation. It started with my generation. Parents were putting their children on Ritalin. If they couldn't handle, the teachers were like, your kid can't sit still in school for 8 hours all day, sitting in a chair, looking at a chalkboard, listening to my voice. And I think my voice is very exciting. And I don't understand why your kid doesn't listen to me. And the moms are like, okay, well, my kid needs to learn. What do I do? Well, you go to a doctor and you put them on medication. Okay, let's do that. So then they put their kids on Ritalin, and their kids were on Ritalin their entire life up to their adult life. Look, and then they come out with Adderall. Now there's different versions of it. It's basically cocaine? It's it's amphetamines or something like that. Something not great. It affects little girls. It affects their hormones, from my understanding. And there's an entire, everyone I know with children, except for a few people I know, they have their little kids on ADHD meds. Girls, too. And it's just, I'm just wondering, like, what's going to happen? Because my entire generation, like, everyone I went to college with, they were on Adderall. They were completely addicted to it. Everyone was like, where can I get Addy? Where can I get Addy? I need my Addy to do my paper. And I was first going to go into college for journalism. And that's there's all the things out there is cutthroat, I feel like. Anything you're going to college for, if it's really competitive, it's going to be super cutthroat. Journalism is one of them. And yeah, it's just crazy. I switched my degree into communications. Thank God. But anyway, I mean, all these people were on ADHD meds and Adderall, and there was this person I think it was from Japan, and he had something he was huffing in a baggie, and I was like, "What you huffing, boy?" And he's like, I'm huffing some ginger root. You want some?" I said, What kind of ginger root?" He said, "Red, white, ginger root." I'm like, "No, man, I don't even, what are you talking about?" So, I mean, and everyone was doing things as a stimulant to stay awake and do more work. And that was the whole goal behind it. That was the whole reason they were doing it as an adult. And maybe they were also addicted to it because their parents put it on. Their parents put them on it when they were young kids. But yeah, I mean, it's just what's going to happen, man. I worked with someone at a financial institute who was around my age. She was on Adderall, and she got completely burned out on it. Just started short circuiting. I don't even know. I mean, it was wild, man. And then when you're an adult as a woman, not only will they put you on Adderall, but then doctors are like, you need to be on Wellbutrin because you're depressed. So then everyone's out there on Adderall and Wellbutrin, and it's just a crazy cocktail. Wild, man. And I have no answers, and I'm not judging. I'm just, what is this going to look like? That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's what's going on. I mean, you look at the behavior of a goat, and they're bouncing around all the time. Those baby goats, they're not on Adderall. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. Just let your kids go out there, bounce around in the yard, man. Get some energy out. I make it sound so simple, don't I? I have all the answers. I have all the answers to all the world's problems right here, and that's why we're all tuning in. Tuning in, folks. I just think about these things. God bless. God bless if you are trying to make a decision to put your child on some kind of stimulant because they can't focus. That's a hard one, man. That's a hard one. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. God bless. Good luck. Let's move on. We got a lot going on in tech news, and I'm going to start with the Consumer Electronics Show. I talked a little bit about this last week. I kind of hit on it a little bit, just like boop, little hit on like that. Kissed it just a little bit. Then we moved on. So I wanted to circle back to that. That was on January 6th through the 9th. And I specifically want to talk about diffusion models. All right. Diffusion models was the dominant engine behind almost everything released last week at the Consumer Electronics Show. And the Consumer Electronics Show, it historically has been the weirdest. It's just super weird. It's chock full of all absurd, almost definitely going nowhere gadgets. This is the guy from the AI Daily Brief said this. It's chock full of absurd, almost definitely going to go nowhere gadgets that tend to shove whatever the hottest new tech in places where it doesn't belong. Like, it sort of looks like there's animatronics in the corner and they call that a robot. They put some weird face on it and then they put like some AI in it and they're like, yeah, that's a future. It's just odd. But at the same time, it's in some weird ways the most creative because it's raw and futuristic looking. It harkens back in some ways to the old science expos of the 50s and 60s where the point wasn't to sell things that were available now, but to get a glimpse of the possible future. And this year, there actually was a lot of super interesting technology that they were talking about that is actually happening today. Mind-blowing technology. Jensen Huang was there. That's the CEO of Nvidia. And Jensen Huang, he's that silicon jacket wizard. He wear that black leather jacket. Jensen Huang, he got that black leather jacket. He's out there in Silicon Valley. He's that black leather jacket wizard. So, yeah, he was there talking about the Vera Rubin, a Vera CPU, Rubin GPU, and that replaces a Blackwell GPU. And also, Boston Dynamics Atlas was there. Now, I am such a super fan of Boston Dynamics because of the history they had. They started out over 30 years ago. And it was a guy, I think it was a spinoff of MIT or a guy from MIT. But I believe the guy's name is Mark and his last name starts with an R, and that's not helping anyone out there. So anyway, he wears like Hawaiian shirts. Anyway, he made Boston Dynamics and they struggled. They struggled through it. Like their whole model, their whole engineering model back over 30 years ago was build the machine, see it struggle, iteration basically, like build it, see what works. All right, now build what works and then see that go, that didn't work. Okay, let's, does that make any sense? So that's how they did it. And their robots would fall in the parking lot and lose kneecaps and fingers and motors and nuts and bolts go flying everywhere because it tripped when it wasn't supposed to. Atlas started out like that. He had like a big old pack on his back. And now he's electric. And that's what they debuted at the Consumer Electric Show, Boston Dynamics. And we're going to get into that in just a second. Not a second, because we're going to talk about diffusion. That's going to be a little bit here. But guys, I will keep this podcast down on time because we all got things to do. So, all right. I wanted to go back to diffusion. And diffusion, excuse me. Okay, so what is, oh goodness. Okay, so diffusion is used in video generation. Okay, so it's a way to, diffusion is a way to train a model. And so we're talking Sora, and that's OpenAI's video generation, Sora, or we're talking VEO3, and that's Google's DeepMind, and I believe they're both text to video generators. I know VEO3 is a text to video generator. I believe Sora is as well. Both of them are mind blowing. If you've ever took a gander at either of them. I showed you last week some video from VEO3, and it was the garlic bread opera, and it was pretty wild, and that was from a few months ago. It's gotten even better. And the way that these models are trained is from a diffusion method. It's a diffusion model. So a diffusion model is basically, take OpenAI Sora or VEO3, okay? And you sit it down in front of an old 1950s TV with a lot of static on it, all right? And then you say to it, hey, you give it a prompt, John Wayne. So you type in John Wayne. You wanted to make a video of John Wayne from this static TV. So what it starts doing is the AI, it looks at the random static and it says, all right, there's 3 pixels in the middle and they're slightly darker than others. If this were a John Wayne movie, those pixels would probably be the edge of his cowboy hat. So then they start kind of making odds and ends of all that static, and it cleans the noise by nudging the pixels to look a tiny bit more like a hat. It does this 50 times. So by step 10, you see a blurry shape. By step 50, the AI has convinced the static to become a high definition cowboy. So it's using a random static as a seed, call it a seed. So if you use static A, the AI might see John Wayne's hat tilted to the left. If you use static B, you see John Wayne's hat tilted to the right. And you can change the seed number. So if you want it tilted to the left or tilted to the right, you're going to change that seed number. This is how a diffusion model works in a nutshell. Again, diffusion models is to train a video generator like Google DeepMind's VEO3 or OpenAI's Sora. So it's basically diffusion models. It's hallucination under control. So we give the AI a static mess. Like I said, you put it in front of that 1950s TV and there's a lot of static on it, and you give it a map. The map is your prompt, which was John Wayne. You want it to make a John Wayne movie, and it cleans the mess up until it matches your prompt, basically. So it's creating it creates a compressed version so the model doesn't burn a ton of energy. That's called a latent diffusion model. That is a compressed version of the video. It's a latent diffusion transformer. It's a transformer because it's making sure that during the creation of the video, John Wayne has a beginning, middle, and an end. That's the transformer part of it. Transformers are used to train large language models, a text model like OpenAI or Grok. So the new wave is this hybrid diffusion transformer model. Diffusion is becoming transformerized. This is something Jensen Hung was talking about at the Consumer Electric Show last week. This hybrid model, DIT, diffusion transformer. He's using that in his new Cosmos World Foundation model, which he unveiled at that show. So, and a world model is a neural network that builds an internal understanding of the physical world. It does not just react to inputs like a camera feed. It predicts and simulates what happens next, grounded in real physics, gravity, collisions, and motion. So Jensen Hung, he's the CEO of Nvidia. They make those GPU chips for databases, for robots, for AI brains. And he had unveiled this new concept of the Cosmos World Model Foundation at that Consumer Electric Show last week. And it is using the DIT, which is a diffusion transformer. And that's what you're doing is the hybrid. You're putting diffusion models together with a transformer. And that is unheard of, folks. Completely unheard of. But that's Jensen Hung for you, man. Just when you thought something couldn't happen, Jensen Hung go over there with his black leather jacket and his black shirt and his black pants and his black shoes and his black belt. And he gets up on that stage and he says, oh, you thought that you couldn't put diffusion with a transformer? Well, I did it. It's done. Go to the Cosmos World Model Foundation, and that's where you're going to find that diffusion transformer model. That's what's so incredible about the AI and robotic revolution and the leaders who are leading it right now. So going back to the diffusion model, in our example, the transformer looks at the whole video at once to make sure that if John Wayne is walking left in the first second, he isn't suddenly walking right in the third second. And it provides temporal consistency, meaning time makes sense. And that's what the transformer does, versus before it was just diffusion. Diffusion is seeing a lot of noise, seeing a noisy picture. 1950s TV, guys, we're seeing a lot of static and making something of it that you are told to make. John Wayne, make John Wayne from this static. I see 3 little pixels in the middle that are really dark. I think that could be the edge of a hat. And then it starts doing this. It cleans it up, 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 over and over and over and over until it matches the prompt that you gave it, until the picture matches the prompt that you gave it, which was John Wayne. Then you add in a transformer to that diffusion model. And that transformer is saying, hey, hang on a minute. We have a nice John Wayne picture and it's moving, but we don't have a beginning, middle, and end. You gotta make it a story. That's the transformer. And then it's like, all right, I'll do that. And then it's like, you gotta compress that story so you don't freaking burn your face out, your brain out, like you're on ADHD meds for 20 years. So you gotta compress that video, and that is called a latent diffusion transformer. So that's what's going on, man. It's pretty wild. And I mean, I'm just checking here to make sure I didn't leave anything out for you guys. So people who are training these AI models, they're using this hybrid diffusion plus a transformer to now train robots. This is mind blowing, guys. Before you weren't going to use a diffusion model to train a robot, because diffusion models were just for video generation software such as ChatGPT Sora or Google DeepMind's VEO3, Stable Diffusion. So you wouldn't go ahead and use that to train your robot. Make no sense. But you can combine that with a transformer and use that to train your robot in physical AI. They are training the robot brain by showing it footage of the hybrid video diffusion plus a transformer, that's DIT, of a robot falling or succeeding, so the robot can learn from this without harming itself or breaking things in the real world. This involves the model knowing how physics works, not just knowing what's wrong or right. It's got that Nvidia Physics 5 engine in it. That's what I'm saying. Helix at Figure, you know how much I love Figure. That Brett Adcock over there, he's the CEO of Figure. And they're doing some really mind-blowing things. And Brett Adcock and the team over there at Figure, they made their AI brain called Helix. Helix at Figure, he might be using a diffusion policy. Now, a diffusion policy instead of a diffusion model is for the video generation software like Sora. A diffusion policy is now being used to train robots. And I think Figure might be using a diffusion policy for that beautiful hand. It's got that beautiful haptics hand and those beautiful toes. And it might be using that diffusion model to denoise a shaky hand movement into smooth, precise actions like a human being would think through it. I'm tying that into Figure because I like to tie that into the humanoid world. And I talk about Figure a lot. Atlas could be doing it too. So that's what's going on with diffusion. Super mind-blowing. Moving on to Atlas. Let's see. Oh, back up. Back it up. Okay. I feel like, look, I need to get a little energized here. So we're going to do some cold coffee. And then we're going to, let's listen to this. Yeah. That was fun. Okay. All right. We're all energized, right? You got some coffee, and I'm going to drink more coffee. Drinking more coffee makes me want to drink more coffee. We're going to move on here to another big announcement, the Boston Dynamics announcement at the Consumer Electric Show. But guys, I got to be honest. Excuse me. This is a hard week for me because my husband and I had to make the decision to put our cat down, and I'm not going to cry. It's okay. I'm not going to cry. Just bear with me. I've had my cat for... He's either 15 or 16. I've had him for a while. And I only have 2 more nights with him. I am so sorry. And he's been with me. I might cut this out. I'm so sorry, guys. Who wants to hear about this? Nobody. No one. Jeez. Go on, Lisa. Go on. I've had it. He's been with me through some really hard times. I got divorced, and he got me. He was there in my shitty apartment in Florida. And it was cockroach infested, and I'm pretty sure there was a meth lab under us because the people, they didn't really have teeth. And they would say hi, but then they'd be like swaying back and forth, and they had these they were like weeping willows on their porch down there, like, woo, hello. And then they'd like lean up against the porch, and it smelled kind of weird. But that was when I was financially going through some really hard times, and he was with me through all of it. I was allergic to cockroaches, so you could just imagine all the rashes I had. I found out that I had a window unit. Yeah, a window unit in Florida. That's how bad the apartment was. It didn't even have central air. The window unit, there was about a 2-inch gap underneath of the unit, and it was a window unit, but it was actually in a cutout in the wall, and it was the lower wall. And I looked one day, and there was a 2-inch gap, and that's where all the cockroaches were coming in and out. And my bestie little buddy, he would I'd come home, and he'd pull all the legs off the cockroaches. So gross. But he was so proud. And he was just with me through, when I got divorced, I'd wear my, God, this is pathetic. I'd wear my wedding dress and just cry on that shitey floor. And he would just come and cuddle up right next to me. And, my diet was peanut butter because I just didn't have a lot of money. And I remember the one time I couldn't open the peanut butter jar. And I just cried and cried because I was so hungry. And I got home from work. I just couldn't open the peanut butter jar. And I was just like losing it. I was on the floor, and he came over to me, and he would just kind of look at me like, it's okay, Mom. And he was with me there. I went through a really dark time where I wanted to delete myself from this earth. And the Lord used my little fur baby as a conduit for the Lord. My fur baby, he looked at me, and I said, I can't leave him. And mostly because he's really feisty, and I don't think anyone else would take him because he bit everybody. So he's my feisty baby, but he's been suffering. I'm so sorry, guys. And you can't be selfish. You have to think what is right for them. And it's the right thing to do. You know, he's the equivalent of a 90-year-old human. And when I'm 90, I would probably hope that I could be put out of my misery too. So, God, I look so ugly when I cry. God. Jeez. All right. Pull it together. We got a podcast to do. Gosh. I am so sorry. All right. Deep breath. Oh, let's get more coffee. Making it through. We're getting through this. We're going to get through this. Just like we get through a bad day at work. We'll get through my podcast. Here we go. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Atlas. All right, Boston Dynamics. Oh man, this is wild. It's all wild. It really is. This is really mind blowing. Let's see. Oh, before we go to Boston Dynamics, let's see. The biggest trend at the CES 2026 Consumer Electric Show was synthetic data, the AI. Synthetic data, right. We run out of human data to train robots. So we are using Nvidia's Cosmos to generate millions of hours of fake but physically accurate video. The robots watch these, they call them dreams, to learn how to handle rare accidents without ever breaking a real finger. So like I was saying before with Boston Dynamics, they had to break a real finger. They didn't have this simulation to reality training platform, Cosmos. Jensen was thinking it up. At that point, it was just a thought. When Boston Dynamics was out there trying to make their robots a reality. So this enables everyone to train their robots in a simulated world without physically harming the robot or anyone else. And that's pretty wild. And I did touch on the World Foundation model, which I know Jensen Huang is super excited about. The CEO of Nvidia, that black leather jacket wizard of the Silicon Valley. That's who Jensen Huang is. And he was excited to talk about the World Foundation model, unveil Cosmos as a World Foundation model. And again, a World Foundation model is a model that it doesn't just learn, it doesn't just react to inputs like a camera feed. It predicts and simulates what happens next, grounded in real physics like gravity, collisions, and motion. So that's what they were talking about over there at the Consumer Electric Show 2026. And diffusion model. So, all right, we got Atlas here. The new all-electric Atlas was unveiled at the show. And we're going to put our Hans device on for this because your neck might snap off Oh, I got that backwards because I'm dyslexic. Okay, we're going to put our Hans device on for this because your head might snap off your neck when you see Boston Dynamics' new electric Atlas. I'm trying to get words for it. It's got me all flubbergasted. Flubby dubby. Okay. So let's see. Oh, got my hair caught. My hair. We have the new Atlas. Here we go. Let's take a look. I think this is the first time I'm seeing this full video. So here, bear with me. We're going to watch this together. This is exciting.
It's pretty simple. Atlas doesn't have to move like a person does. We're looking for the most
Look at those
stable,
hands.
efficient way to get up. And it
That
turns out this
gate! Look at that gate! Oh my God!
Robots can make work safer, faster, and more scalable. Technology not for show, but for real, for measurable, positive impact. We take Boston Dynamics top research.
We got RoboDog. We got Boston Dynamics, RoboDogs. Spot.
All robotics players. This collaboration is unique.
All right, Spot was dancing, but look at that. Okay, let's take a look at this new Atlas. Look at that gate.
Atlas doesn't have to move like a person does.
Holy
We're looking for the most
smoke.
stable, efficient
That
way
gate
to get up.
slaps.
It turns out this is it.
That's a slap gate. And you know they got that Nvidia brain in there.
Can make
So
work
it's low
safer,
latency.
faster,
That's a
and
slap
more
gate.
scalable.
Low
Technology
latency.
not for show, but for real.
And that is so exciting. That's amazing. Okay, so the new Atlas, we have the whole body control. We got 56 degrees of freedom. All right, degrees of freedom is the number of independent movements a joint can make. And you need that DOF for that DTF. Not mean. I know you guys love it. You love all my cheese. I see the only menu item tonight is cheesy jokes. And I'm here to fill you up. So we got Atlas. We got 56 degrees of freedom. And let's see. He has a 360-degree spin on the joints. On all joints. So Atlas, he can move his head like an owl. He can move his torso like an owl. He can be looking at you with his ring light head and his hips be facing the other way. And also his arm could be facing the other way. And that is wild. I'm trying to do a 360-degree spin, and that's just not going to happen. Our joints can't do 360-degree spins, but Atlas's can. Guys, how are we gonna keep up with that? There's no way we're going to keep up with that, okay? So if you can't win without them, then we better join them. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm joining the bots. So Atlas, with his 360-degree spin on joints, he's 6'2", way taller than me, with an arm reach of 7.5 feet. That's wild. That is wild. So that's a really, really long arm. That dude is a high shelf accessor. You got a robot with a 7.5 feet of reach. You be standing next to him and you think you got a good distance from you and the humanoid robot Atlas. And because you don't want to be touched by it, you're like, what is that? Don't touch me. And then it stick out its arm and it be touching you because it can reach 7.5 feet. Starts tickling your ear. Starts messing around. and you don't even know how to process that because it's inhuman. It's weird. So, but this dude, he's that high shelf accessor. He's 198 pounds. What do you call that? A stealth 198 pounds. He has a lift capacity of 110 pounds. A 4-hour runtime on battery. And let's see, but he's designed, that doesn't sound like a lot. That's not a lot. Well, I mean, look, if you have an 8-hour work day, you only need to switch your battery out twice, but these guys work 24/7. That's why they are designed to switch out their own battery packs. Can you do that? Can we go ahead and just plug ourselves in? And not even plug ourselves in, just like take your brain out and switch it out with another one. That's the equivalent. That's kind of the equivalent of it. It's an energy source, really. Just give yourself, just go ahead and plug into the sun. Have those gamma rays go up your peach. And now you're fully charged up and you can go work for another 4 hours. That's the equivalent of it. Charging up to the sun. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, so Atlas can swap that battery out for 24/7 operation. That is mind freaking blowing, man. Holy smoke. How are we going to compete with that? We can't. We're not going to compete with that, guys. So again, if you can't win without them, then you must win with them and join them. That's what I'm saying. The first fleets are committed to Hyundai's meta plant. Where's that Hyundai's meta plant? That's over there in Georgia. Yeah, that's down there in Georgia. I think it's in South Georgia. So the first fleets of the electric Atlas, the new electric Atlas, is committed to Hyundai's meta plant in Georgia and Google's DeepMind for this year's deployment, 2026. Let's see. Oh, okay, bear with me. It's got so Atlas had this, Atlas has a 0-shot learning. What does that mean? Okay, 0-shot learning. I've talked about this before. It is basically, it's in an AI model when a model can handle new tasks or recognize unseen data, like picking up a mug or looking at a cat. It's never seen a cat. So when it can do these things without extra training, relying on its prior knowledge, it's based on machine learning, specifically deep learning, where models are trained on broad, diverse data sets to infer patterns across context. For example, you tell a humanoid robot, pick up that blue mug, and it figures it out without ever being trained on blue mug, specifically by understanding pick up and blue from prior data. Let me say that again. Excuse me, my voice is all cracky because of all that crying I did before. God, what a little bitch. Okay, we're back on track. So Atlas, the new Atlas that was unveiled at the CES, Consumer Electric Show 2026 last week, Boston Dynamics new electric Atlas, has 0-shot learning. 0-shot learning is basically when a model can handle new tasks or recognize unseen data without extra training, relying on its prior knowledge. Example, when you tell a humanoid robot to pick up that blue mug, and it figures it out without ever being trained on blue mug specifically, but it figures it out by understanding pick up and blue from prior data. What? This is how robots are learning these days. It's figuring things out on the fly. Like a human being. Insane, man. That's insane. That is wild. Holy smokes. Okay. Good God. And the whole, I mean, here's the thing. It seems mind-blowing that this is happening all so fast. Like, how are these people figuring this out so fast? These things have been sort of figured out before. People have been thinking about this and working on this, but they haven't been able to put it into a robot because there were no specific chips for robots. That's why Nvidia, that's why Jensen Hung over there with his black leather jacket, his black shirt, his black pants, his black belt, his black shoes is such a wizard of AI robotics. Because he, with his GPU, that people were like, no, this is impossible. He's like, he stood up there and he's like, here's my thing. Here's my GPU. This is reality now. So go pound sand. And he made it possible for these robots to be able to function in the real world with physics. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. So the reason why robots are able to make this all possibly be a reality, like the reason why Atlas is able to be a reality or figure is because Jensen Hung, not specifically because of Jensen Hung, but a lot of it is because of Jensen Hung, because they run on Jensen Hung's Nvidia chip. And Jensen Hung's Nvidia chip, now, like I said, Jensen Hung is known to do things that people said couldn't be done. And he's over there being the CEO of Nvidia in that black leather jacket, that black shirt, those black pants, that black belt, and his black shoes. And he's up there and he's like, I made a GPU for an AI brain, and you said it couldn't be done, but here I did it. Here it is. Here it is. And then, so everyone saw that, all these people who were working on AI brains for robots, and they're like, oh my God, now we can actually put the robot brain into the robot on this chip, and it works really well. And here's the thing. Most AI is born in FP32, but it lives its daily life in FP4. Now, I'm talking about, don't worry about the FP. That stands for floating point operation, and that is a math calculation with a decimal, okay? The 32, FP4 or FP32. So that's what I want to talk about is, again, most AI is usually born or trained in FP32. And that means that it's a model that is extremely precise. It uses a lot of power because you're using 32 bits to represent a number, one of those math calculations with decimal. And but a robot lives its daily life in FP4. Because a robot can't live off of FP32, they would have a battery power of about 5 minutes. Now, it'd be a little longer than that, but their latency would be really, really bad. They'd have high late if they ran on FP32. They don't need to run on FP32. There's no reason for it because not everything has to be so precise. You know, you're walking straight forward. You're not calculating in your head, well, I have to walk this exact distance in this exact moment with this exact movement. No, it just needs to move its foot forward. And then if there's a problem, then it can so it needs to move its foot forward on a 4-bit calculation. And then if there's a problem, like it stepped on a Lego by accident, it didn't see it, and it stepped on a Lego, then it can figure out how to recover from that from a higher floating point operation like an FP8. But FP32 is typically not you're not going to use that in your robot because there's going to be a lot of latency and it's just going to kind of be frozen trying to think about things. And there's no reason for it. And before the Jensen Hung came along with his Jetson Thor chip, it was just really, really hard to do that in a robot because his Jetson Thor chip has FP4, FP8, FP16, and FP32. Like I said, you can't take an AI model and put it into a humanoid brain. The model that was trained on FP32 bit and put it into a humanoid brain that's going to be running on an FP4 bit. You can't do that. It's gonna completely just is going to lose its freaking mind. That's what it's gonna do. So you gotta have a chip that has it all. And the most mind-blowing thing about the Jetson Thor chip, guys, holy smokes. My question is, how does the chip know to go between a 4-bit, an 8-bit, a 16-bit, and a 32-bit? And what if you don't want it to be on 32 bits? Because you don't want that high late. So the chip, and I'm specifically talking about the Jetson Thor, the T5000 model that comes with support for FP. We got 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32 bits. And we have the 4-bit model has 2070 T flops. And that is, this is the 100 mile per hour warp speed the robot uses for balance and split-second survival. And that's super high thinking right there. T is a trillion operations per second, and flops is that floating operation point. So it's really fast. The FP4 2070 is a super fast thinker, doesn't use a lot of energy for the robot, and it can that's like when it's walking. And then you got an FP8, a 1035 flop. That's half of the 2070. It's the cruising speed. It's used for identifying objects and planning movement. Then you have the FP32 model, the precision. We got -8 T flops. Now we're going way down. It's the low gear, much slower. It's 100% accurate. Robots use this for very specific mathematical calculations that can't afford any rounding errors. So basically, the FP4 and 8, you're rounding numbers. So that's wild, guys. That's so wild to me. Again, FP4 is the fast mode split-second decision, split-second reflexes like balancing if the robot gets bumped, allowing the robot to process up to 2070 flops. FP8 complex reasoning, and then we went through the FP32, and also it comes with that FP16. So I'm talking about that Nvidia Jetson Thor T5000 model, and that's the robot brain. So the most mind-blowing thing about the Jetson Thor T5000 module is that it comes with a transformer engine. And it acts like an automatic transmission between FP 4, 8, 16, and 32. So it's running, it's like it's going down. It's going down to FP32. Going up to FP16, up to FP8, and then up to FP4. So, okay, that was really fun. Okay, so I'm juxtaposing the transformer engine in the Jetson Thor T5000 module to a manual 911 racing car. Anyway, so this is the most mind-blowing thing. So we have the way that it is able to shift these gears is, I got it, guys. I got the notes. It determines predictable data by measuring electrical spikes in the robot's thoughts. Those spikes are called AMEX. The transformer engine monitors a value called AMEX. If all of the numbers in a vector are close together between -1 and 1, the engine realizes that it can use 4 bits because the spread is small, so 4 bits is good enough to represent the numbers without losing detail. Makes sense? If a vector has outliers, sudden spikes where one value is 100 times larger than the others. The engine flags this as complex. FP4 would round small numbers to 0, or they'd get clipped completely, making the robot clumsy. The engine detects the spike and shifts that specific block to FP8 to represent details. This is mind-blowing, guys. This is the Jetson Thor T5000 module transformer engine. It's shifting bits. That's what it's doing out there. And I'm talking, it's in a robot brain. So this is all while the robot's moving. Okay, and let's see. It's all about those vectors, man. They represent the state of the world. A vector represents the state of the world to, say, a humanoid. A steady state, when Atlas is, we're talking about, let's use Atlas. When Atlas is standing still, the vectors are very stable. Guys, do you remember what a vector is? So again, a robot brain or a large language model, it creates tokens. You give it a prompt, make a John Wayne video, and it starts making tokens. Those tokens, they go out to, I kind of see them, they have to turn your words or your prompt into tokens because AI doesn't speak our language. It doesn't speak really anybody's language because no one speaks to anybody else in mathematical calculations at all times. That's the language of the AI models. I'm talking about specifically robots, humanoid brain. They think in calculations. So they have to chunk up what you're trying to tell it to do. And then it has something called vectors. It's these like things out in its brain. It's these little clusters. And it takes all the tokens and it goes out to the vectors. It's trying to put together what you told it to do. And that's kind of like in a nutshell. These vectors were created during its training. So a vector represents the state of the world to the humanoid robot. A steady state is when the robot is standing still. The vectors are very stable. Nothing's really going on. The transformer engine and the Jetson Thor T5000 module GPU sees the mathematical stillness and runs almost everything at the FP4 bit. So the dynamic state, the moment a robot reaches for a mug, the vectors for hand precision, torque, and visual depth change rapidly. These vibrating vectors produce more outliers. They call them outliers. And it's a sudden spike where one value is 100 times larger than the others. That's an outlier. So when a robot reaches for a mug, it creates a vibrating vector. It's like vibrating atoms, and it produces these outliers. So you got some spikes going on, like an insulin spike. And the engine, the transformer engine, that's that automatic shifter between the bits. It reacts in nanoseconds, shifting those specific motion control vectors to FP8 from FP4 to ensure the hand doesn't miss the handle by a millimeter when a robot goes to pick up a mug. And that is freaking mind-blowing, man. That is amazing. That's insane. Insane in the membrane. Okay. I don't know who sings that song, but I know that song. And not because I had it, just because I've heard it around when I was growing up. Okay, so Atlas also unveiled, or Boston Dynamics also unveiled Atlas's new hand at the CES conference of 2026. And they pivoted. I talked about Atlas's new hand just a few months ago. Just a few months ago, guys. And this is the one that I talked about. The earlier version, Boston Dynamics showcased a more advanced, flexible, multi-fingered gripper hand design for the new electric Atlas humanoid, something aimed at more dexterous, human-like manipulation. And look at this hand. This is the hand that it's just carrying a barbell with some plates on it. Whoa, Atlas, whoa. And that was the old Atlas with the pack on the back. But it got this hand, and it has like these 3 talons, and it kind of looks like the Velociraptor hand. And the 3rd talon might look like a kill talon. That was the old hand. The old meaning just a few months ago. They had like all these engineers working on this really amazing hand, and then they went and unveiled at this conference just last week a brand new hand. They scrapped the old hand. And they're like, here's the new hand. I know all these engineers worked on this old hand, but we were like, we can't use that hand. Your hand is no good here. And Atlas is like, get rid of this hand, man. Chop it off. Give me that new hand. So that's what happened. I think Atlas is really running the biznack over there. So there was a rapid pivot. They reveal the production-oriented version with a completely redesigned hand, simpler, more tool-like, 3-fingered grippers focused on industrial utility strength and reliability rather than maximum flexibility or human mimicry. So let's see. It seems like it's pragmatic shift after real world testing. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Here's the new hand. In just 3 months, Boston Dynamics went from debuting its new flexible robot gripper to completely scrapping it. The production Atlas revealed at Consumer Electronics Show 2026 has a totally different hand, signaling a whiplash-inducing pivot from radical innovation to pragmatic tool-focused utility. The new hand is a little skinnier. It looks like it's got, it's not as beefy. You know what I mean? It's not as beefy. It can't hold that wheel of cheese. No, I think the actuator in it is a lot smaller, it looks like, and it still got those 3 talons. So still got that going on for it. Moving on. Oh, this is exciting. Okay. We're talking here the New York Times DealBook Summit interview from December of 2025. That wasn't that long ago. DealBook is a flagship business and policy news platform founded and edited by Andrew Ross Sorkin. Y'all know who Andrew Sorkin is? Andrew Sorkin wrote that book, 1929. That's a recent book by Andrew Sorkin. You should go get it and read that, Bichon. It's a really good book. Andrew Sorkin, Andrew Sorkin is like the Marvin Gaye of finance. Sorkin's out there. Sorkin got that introspective. He's revealing cracks in the system, market bubbles, inequalities, regularity failures. Sorkin makes you feel the weight of it all while still being smooth and silky with his words. And that's like Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye, let's see. Ain't no mountain high enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. And that's Marvin Gaye. That's what I'm talking about. And another song Marvin Gaye sang, oh, mercy, mercy me. I sing it just like him. Things ain't what they used to be. All the oil in the sea. That's Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye. I'm that man. If Marvin Gaye was the co-anchor of Squawk Box on CNBC, he would be Andrew Sorkin. That's all I'm saying. So Andrew Sorkin, he interviewed Jeff Bezos. And here we go. He's talking about Jeff Bezos. He's talking about energy for AI. This is the first time I'm hearing this clip. I saw the post. I didn't listen to the clip. Here we go. Again, Andrew Sorkin talking to Jeff Bezos about AI energy.
What is it that you're doing at Amazon?
AI.
AI.
Yeah, so I mean, there are a few things, but small thing, but it's 95% AI.
And where do you think...
It's just so, because we are literally working on 1,000 applications internally. So AI, you have to remember, modern AI is a horizontal enabling layer. It can be used to improve everything. It will be in everything. This is most like electricity. I went to a brewery in Luxembourg many years ago now. In fact, this trip was one of the little tiny catalysts for the founding of AWS. And the brewery was 300 years old. This company making beer for 300 years. A lot of the oldest companies in the world are breweries, by the way. I don't know why this is. And they were very proud of their history, and they had a museum. And in that museum was an electric power generator, 100 years old. And because when they wanted to improve the efficiency of their brewery with electricity, there was no power grid. So they had to build their own power station. So they made their own electricity. And at that time, that's what everybody did. If a hotel wanted electricity, they had their own electric generator. And I looked at this and I thought, this is what computation is like today. Everybody has their own data center. And that's not going to last. It makes no sense. You're going to buy compute off the grid. That's AWS. We were doing it internally at Amazon for ourselves, and the APIs were created. That's a very interesting story in its own right. But this is, these kind of horizontal layers, like electricity and compute, and now artificial intelligence, they go everywhere. I guarantee you there is not a single application that you can think of that is not going to be made better by AI.
What is it that you're doing?
That was a long clip. Sorry about that, guys. But I thought that was really interesting. And let's see. I believe, so Jensen Hung, he calls data centers AI factories. How long is this clip? Okay, this one's a little less long. Here we go.
The big picture is to think about these computers not as supercomputers, but as AI factories. These AI factories are producing what is called tokens, numbers. And so you have to use the factory for three fundamental things. The first thing is to train your next frontier model so that you could build the best AI, get to market first. So you want to train it as fast as you can. Comparing Blackwell to Rubin is a 4x leap. And so that 4x jump, you could either do something in 4 months or do it in 1 month. So it's a very big difference. The big picture is to think about these computers.
Jensen Hung says data centers are no longer supercomputers, they are AI factories. Okay, moving on. All right, this dude, I didn't do any research on this dude, but we can feel the pain. Here we go. Is it gonna wanna work for me? Come on, work. Oh, is this oh, hang on. Let me see if this is the right one. Oh, that was Atlas. That's Atlas, man. Atlas doing a backflip. I didn't realize that it was Atlas when I first watched it, but that's Atlas with that ring light head and that slap gate. Oh my God. Okay, look at this again. Let's look at this again. Oh my God. All right. Jeez. Here we go. Backflip. Dude lost a kneecap. That dude, he did a backflip, and then his leg went over this way, and then his kneecap, it went over the opposite direction, and then I think it hit someone and landed in their coffee. Kneecaps, nuts and bolts, just going flying in the air, hitting people in the head. That's parts of Atlas's body, and he recovered. Damn, God. All right. Oh, come on. People cheering. He made a recovery. Oh my God. One more time. Dude, there goes a kneecap. God. Oh, damn. All right. I did do a lot of research on Atlas, and you just heard about Atlas. So, wow, that's pretty wild. That was exciting. That was a really exciting surprise that that robot doing the backflip was Atlas, because I didn't realize that before. So, okay, I found a robot that is specifically made for restaurants. I'm struggling with it. Like I think restaurants specifically and hotels. I think the service industry. That's the word I was thinking about. You know, I went ahead and I ate some of that honey, and that word came right back into my head. I got some honey delivered to me today, and it's really good. It doesn't have any glyphosates in it, and I ate a pretty good amount of it, and I think it can do your body really good. You can also put honey on your lady parts and just plump them up, and you can put it on your hair and just plump it up. And I don't think that the honey. I don't think that the honey company recommends that. It's called Just Be Wise Honey, and it's they do the glyphosate testing, and I don't think they would recommend to put it on your lady parts or your hair or your skin, but that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm recommending, because it can plump you up. It can plump your bichons right up. Anyway, so this restaurant, this robot that I'm talking about in the restaurant industry, it's made for the service industry. It's called Bear Robotics, and they're doing pretty good. They raised a total of approximately $293.68 million to date across several funding rounds. The funding started in 2017, and the CEO is Feng Wei Li. I hope I pronounced that right, sir. Sorry if I didn't. I'm not really good with pronunciating things. I didn't even pronounce. Anyway, Feng Wei Li is the CEO of Bear Robotics, and he holds a PhD in computer science from the University of Hong Kong and a Bachelor of Engineering in computer science from another university. So this dude, real smart, and he made this robot. It's important to distinguish the Bear Robotics co-founder from an international arms dealer of the same name, also known as Carl Lee. Okay, was that a hallucination from Gemini? Because this guy's name is Feng Wei Li. So what are you saying? That's interesting. Anyway, Bear Robotics, they have two of their flagship robots, Servi, S-E-R-V-I, and Servi Plus. We have Servi is a nimble navigation in tight restaurant spaces, and Servi Plus is specifically marketed as their flagship AI service robot. Due to its advanced suspension and high capacity features, here's the thing. So here it is. It's just rolling about in a restaurant. And, it's just a picture of it. It's just a picture of it. But dude, that thing, you put that thing over here in America, in restaurants in America, that thing be commandeered right off the restaurant floor. Someone come in and hoist that thing up over their shoulder, and they try to put it in the back of their Hyundai Pilot. They just try to shove that beach on in back there with all the rest of their counterfeit products. Just shove Servi right back there and just leave the restaurant. There goes Servi. So here's the thing. To keep robots from being commandeered in America, they should be equipped with Mark Rober's glitter bomb. Come on, guys, what do you think? Remember that glitter bomb that Mark Rober made from people who are stealing packages and things like that? And you open the package, or you commandeer Servi, and Servi lets that glitter bomb off. So basically, it's a bomb of glitter, and it goes all over you, so you can't, if the cops come find you, they'll be like, you stole them. And they're like, no. And then, but you have like glitter all over your face and your body. And then also it lets out fart scent. Yes, a horrific, horrific fart scent. It's so horrific that people need to get rid of the item. And that would be getting rid of Servy when they commandeered it off the restaurant floor. I think all kind of service robots and any robot that's going to be in the streets will have the... Definitely will be commandeered. It's just there's plenty of opportunities for people that will be commandeering those Bichons right off the street, and they need to be equipped with Mark Rober's glitter fart bomb. And I think that's a really great solution, and you should do it. All you robotic companies, you should do it. Do it. Do it, do it. I want to see everyone walking around there with glitter all over their pants, where there's glitter all over their private part. That's what it is. The square of their pants that covers their bits, their tender bits and pieces, and that's the part that gets all glitterized, and then they smell like fart. And you can't hide walking around like that and smelling like that. I think that'd be great. We have a bot that is cleaning a toilet. I think that's great. But again, here's my concern about any kind of domestic robot or a robot that's going around cleaning toilets. How are we cleaning the robots that are cleaning the things? Like, is anyone thinking about how these robots are going to get sanitized? Because a robot that cleans a toilet is going to have all kinds of germs and viruses on it. And you can't, like, a baby might be running through the hall and, like, bump into it. Come on, man. You got to sanitize that bot. And on that note, I'm going to end this podcast. I had a really nice time with you guys today. I apologize for the crying like a little bitch before, but we'll get through it. If anyone out there is going through a time right now where you have to decide what the quality of life of your animal is, my heart really goes out to you. This is not the first time I had to do this. It's really hard when you've had them and they've been in your life for so long and they've helped you through things. I mean, they give themselves to you without wanting anything in return. And it's just, animals are awesome, man. So my heart goes out to you and lots of love and virtual hugs to you. So I will see you next week on the #2 podcast in the world. Bye.